friends, so today you should have printed out the comparing and contrasting two texts. We're going to read about Christmas trees today, and you want to make sure it's the nonfiction. Okay, today we will compare and contrast two nonfiction stories, and then tomorrow we will compare and contrast two fiction stories. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And it always makes me do it 2 times. All right, so your paper should look like this. Now let's kind of review. Comparing is when we are looking at what's the same. And we've done this quite a bit. Remember when we've compared and contrasted both those Miss Nelson stories? We've done it several times. All right, and then contrasting is what is, do you remember? Different. Okay, so compare means the same, contrast means different. So we have 2 passages here. We're going to read about the Fraser fir tree that looks kind of like this, and then the Douglas fir tree. So they're 2 different kinds of Christmas trees. And then we are going to organize our evidence that we find in our graphic organizer. And does anybody remember what this, I just told you what this graphic organizer is called? This is called a Venn diagram. Okay, so this is where we'll put all of our differences and our similarities, our contrasting and our comparing. And then you guys will do this part by yourself. So make sure you have 2 pieces of paper. You've printed both of them. If you are not able to print, you might want to ask Santa Claus for a printer. All right, do your best to follow along with me if not. So as we're reading, we just kind of, and a lot of times good readers read the text more than once. We're going to want to read it probably twice to see if we can find any similarities. When we find anything that is the same, we're going to underline it in both texts, all right? So you go ahead and read along with me. The Fraser fir tree is the most popular type of Christmas tree in the United States. It is very similar to the balsam fir and grows naturally at high elevations in the mountains. So it grows really high up in the mountains. Fraser fir trees usually grow between 30 and 50 feet tall. This fir tree has dark green needles that are 1/2 to 1 inch long. The tree holds its needles for a long time after being cut. It also keeps a nice pine scent for weeks. I bet you have your Christmas trees up, and if you have a real one, you can probably smell the pine. You can smell that fresh scent. I don't have a real tree, so I just have to pretend I light my Christmas tree candles. These features make the tree a favorite among Christmas trees. They are shipped all over the country to be sold on Christmas tree lots. The Fraser fir is not an important source of timber and is most often used just for Christmas trees. So that means they don't cut down the trees a lot to use the wood for anything very special. These are mainly just grown for Christmas trees. The Fraser fir is the first official state tree of North Carolina. The fir tree was named for a botanist named John Fraser, who explored the southern Appalachian Mountains in the late 1700s. All right. So we've learned about the Fraser fir, and we've learned some interesting facts. Now, as we're reading about the Douglas fir, we should have some information stored in our brain already about the Fraser fir. So if anything sounds similar, we want to underline it. Anything we don't underline would be a difference, and we'll make sure we add that to our Venn diagram. All right, Douglas fir trees are very popular Christmas trees in the United States. Are both of these trees popular? Did it say that? It sure did. So let's see. We gotta kind of search through. Makes it a favorite among Christmas trees. Favorite and popular. I'd say that's the same. So it's a favorite. And then right here, very popular. The Douglas fir is not a true fir tree. Unlike the true fir trees, the cones on the Douglas fir hang downward. Douglas fir trees grow in a natural cone shape. See how they have the kind of like the cones? They have 1 to 1.5 inch needles. Oh, is that a same? Is that a similarity? That's a compare, right? They 1 to 1.5 inch needles. And where was it up here? Needles that are 1 to 1.5 inches. Okay, so see how we're noticing the similarities? It might not be worded exactly the same, but if the information is the same, we want to underline it, okay? So they have the same size needles that smell sweet when crushed. They usually grow between 40 and 60 feet tall. That's a difference, right? 30 to 50, 40 to 60. Do you think we should add that on our differences? Me too. Let's just put like a little star next to it so that we know that they're different and we can add that to our difference side. The Douglas fir tree is shipped all over the United States. Is that a similarity? And can be found in Christmas tree lots across the country. Yes. Shipped all over the United States, found in Christmas tree lots across the country. Okay, where was it up here? Let's see. They are shipped all over the country, and they're also in Christmas tree lots, right? Not only is this tree used for Christmas decorations, but it is also used as an important source of timber that is used in building and construction. Is that a similarity? No, that's a good difference. Should we put a star next to that one? So this one, the Douglas fir, is an important source of timber. But remember, they said up here, they don't really use the Fraser fir for timber. Where was that? Where was it? Oh my goodness, this is where I need you to help me. Needles, is not. The Fraser fir is not an important source of timber. All right. The Douglas fir tree is the official state tree of Oregon. It was named after David Douglas, who studied the trees in the 1800s. Okay, so this is different, but how can this also be a similarity? So we know that the Fraser tree was named after David Douglas, right? And we know that the Fraser fir tree was named after John Fraser. That's different. How could that be a similarity? I want you to think about that, okay? All right, so we've got some good stuff to put on our graphic organizer. So let's start with some of our similarities. And there's not a lot of room here. So if you want to get another piece of paper, you can, or on this part, we can we don't have to write in super complete sentences. All right, so what was the same? What did we star? 30, oh no, that was a different, sorry. Star was different, sorry. What did we underline? Oh, they're needles. Needles are 1 inch to 1.5 inches long. One half, excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me, to 1 inch long. Okay, what else? Are underlined. Oh, they are shipped all over the country. So I always like to try to have at least three similarities and 3 differences, okay? And let's see. Shipped all over the country. How about they're both very popular trees? Popular. And look, I also found it up here too. Popular trees. All right, so we've got our 3 similarities, but I want to ask you one more. How would these be the same? Remember how we talked about John Fraser is, the tree is named after John Fraser, this tree, and Douglas fir is named after this tree. How would that be the same? We know it's different, but how could it also be the same? They are both named after a famous person, right? They are both named after like explorers. Let's just add that one. Both are named after, we could even just say people. Okay? All right, so now this is another thing that's so important. If a Venn diagram is already labeled, you want to make sure you're writing the right information, because I would hate for you to write all the stuff about the Douglas fir and the Fraser fir. You have to really pay attention to key details, and sometimes they'll try to trick you, okay? Even me. All right, so the Fraser fir, we want to make sure we're copying the Fraser fir. So what are some things that were different? Well, we starred some. The Fraser fir can be 30 to 50 feet tall. What else? Oh, not an important source of timber. Remember, I always said I like 3, maybe even 4 facts. And then we could say it's named after who? John Fraser. All right. What else? Could we write one more? What about this? The fir tree has dark green needles. It has a nice pine scent. You pick one that's different, that's not in both. Okay? So now, what was only true? Make sure it says it about the Douglas fir. Okay, well, it's not 30 to 50 feet tall. It's what? 40 to 60 feet tall. Oh, this one, remember, it is an important source of timber. If you want to kind of do that so that you don't run into it. What else? Oh, who's it named after? Named after Douglas fir. else? Think of one more that you want to add. I kind of like to do the same, but like show how they're different. So we know that the Fraser fir had a nice pine scent. Do you remember what the Douglas fir had? A sweet smell. Smells sweet, but do you remember why? When crushed. When needles are crushed. All right, so I want you to do some investigating today. If you have a real Christmas tree up in your house, use some of these clues to figure out which tree you have. Your mom and dad might know, but do you have a Fraser fir or do you have a Douglas fir? All right, so I am going to send you off now to answer these 4 comprehension questions. Tomorrow, when I see you again, I would like you to have this with you so that you can check your work, okay? Please go back and find the answers in the text. Even reread the story one more time before you answer the questions, okay? Actually, I would like you to reread the 2 passages and then answer the 4 questions. I will see you tomorrow. We will go over the answers and we will compare and contrast a fiction story. So our nonfiction story was all true facts. Tomorrow it will be a made up story about Christmas. All right, you did a fabulous job. Put on your Santa hat. Give me a ho, ho, ho. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.